Good morning, students. Welcome to online platform of Shri Academy. In the previous video, we were discussing the chapter The Triumph of Surgery. Let's continue with the chapter. So, student, what did we see in the story? Yet, we found that the mistress was very rich and she was very caring about the dog. She used to feed him. She used to overfeed him. Not only feed him, she used to overfeed him. And everybody knows that overeating is also a problem. So, whenever Tricky was very much greedy about food, he never knew how to refuse for the food. So uh, whenever her mistress offered him food, he accepted it, he ate it, and he digested it. After that, when the doctor saw Tricky, he found his miserable condition. He knew that within some time he will be ill and then he will be called to see him. So the expected call came to doctor and doctor went to see the Tricky, and there he already decided to take Tricky away to the surgery with him, because his mistress would never stop feeding him. So for the betterment of the dog, the veterinary doctor decided to took him away from his house. Now let's continue the story. Out on the road, I glanced down at the pathetic little animal gasping on the seat by my side. I patted the head and Tricky made a brave effort to wag his tail. Poor old lad, I said, you haven't a kick in you, but I think I know a cure for you. So, when the doctor took the dog into his car, he patted his head at that time. As Tricky was very much ill, he was unable to move at that time also. When doctor patted his head, he made an effort to wag his tail. Poor old lad. So doctor thought him of a poor old lad, and he knew that he do not have a kick for him, but he know how to cure him. So at the surgery, the household dogs surged round me. Tricky looked down at the noisy pack with dull eyes, and when put down, lay motionless on the carpet. The other dogs, after sniffing round him for a few seconds, decided he was an uninteresting object and ignored him. So when the doctor took the dog into the surgery, their household dogs were searched, that means lived around him. So Tricky looked down at the noisy pack with dull eyes. Tricky saw the noise over there and he was looking with his dull eyes, and when he was put down, he lay motionless. He was not moving. And so he lay down motionless on the carpet. The other dogs come and smelt him. Sniff means it is a kind of act that dogs usually do to recognize someone. So he started other dogs started sniffing around him for a few seconds, but after a few seconds they found that Tricky is quite uninteresting object, as he was not moving at all. So all of them ignored him and they went. I made up a bed for him in a warm, loose box next to the one where the other dogs slept. Now, doctor prepared the bed for the Tricky. For 2 days, I kept an eye on him, giving him no food but plenty of water. For 2 days, what did the doctor did? Veterinary doctor did. For 2 days, veterinary doctor do not give him any kind of food. He only gave plenty of water. That means a lots of water. So doctor gave a lot of water to the dog. At the end of second day, he started to show some interest in his surrounding, and on the third he began to whimper when he heard the dogs in the yard. So till second day, dog was feeling so, but at the third day he started reacting to the dogs. When I opened the door, Tricky trotted out and was immediately engulfed by joy and Greyhound and his friend. After rolling him over and thoroughly inspecting him, the dogs moved off down the garden. Tricky followed them, rolling slightly with his surplus fat. So now what happened? When the doctor opened the door, all of the dogs were now Tricky was friend to other dogs also, and he was playing with them. Later that day, I present at feeding time. I watched while Terrestrian slopped the food into the bowls. There was the usual headlong rush, followed by sound of high-speed eating. Every dog knew that if he fell behind the other, he is liable to have some competition for the last part of his meal. So when the food was given to the dogs, all of them ran fast and they started eating their food so that they could eat more, and at the last portion of the food they had competition to eat more than the other. So all of you turn over the page, and there you will find on page number 4. When they had finished, Tricky took a walk round of shining bowls, licking casually inside or out of them. Next day, an extra bowl was put for him, and I was pleased to see him jostling his way towards it. Now, when in the next day, Tricky walked towards a shining bowl, and he started licking inside and outside of it. But next day, extra bowl was put for him, and he was pleased, and doctor was pleased to see him jostling his way towards it. From then on, his progress was rapid. He had no medicinal treatment of any kind, but all day he ran about with the dogs, joining in their friendly scrimmage. He discovered the joy of being bowled over, tramped on, squashed every few minutes. He became an accepted member of the gang, an unlikely, silky little object among the saggy crew, fighting like a tiger for his share at the meal time and hunting rats in the old hen house at night. He had never had such a time in his life. So, as we read in the early part of the story, that earlier Tricky do not used to play at all, as he was alone at home. Her mistress took good care of him, but then also he was missing something. So now when he joined the group of other dogs, he used to play with them, he used to have fun with them, and he was also an accepted member to the other dogs, because he was same like them, but earlier he was kept separated from each one, and now he was living with the dogs. So all the dogs accepted him open armly, and then they all played together, and they also went on hunting rats in the old hen house at the night. And Tricky do not had such a joyful time in his life. Okay students, we will continue the remaining part of the story in the next video. Thank you.